Hey everyone, just want to spend a second talking about my knee. So many of you know I had my knee resurfaced 4.5 months ago, and I want to give you an update because I want to set the stage for this. So between 4 and 4.5 months, I've been able to get back on my bike, ride all my old rides. I'm clipped in using my clip-in pedals. I'm skiing like I did when I was a 22-year-old maniac. You may have noticed I'm training again and even pulled heavy with Mark Bell the other day. I think I pulled 570. Not that I recommend that or need to do that again. But the key here is that I'm trying to get across that my tissues still aren't normal. So I'm making fantastic progress, and I don't really think about my knee very often. But what I want to appreciate is that, as we've talked about before, after surgery or after trauma or injury, one of the things that we struggle to do and sort of strive for is trying to normalize the tissues. They will never be normal again. So cut through my joint capsule, the reefing of the joint capsule, the soft tissue around that, the change in height of my patella, all that is different. So what I'm shooting for is trying to get as much normal function out of the knee as I can. Now, my functioning starts to look very similar. It looks like my other knee. In fact, I'm doing a lot of things better than I did before. But the key here is to appreciate that those newly injured or rehabbed or fresh tissues that are coming through are going to behave differently than the other tissues. So you're basically always going to be sort of confronted with this normalizing versus normal concept, which still fits into the continuum of training. So if I go for a heavy bike ride or a hard bike ride with my wife, my left leg might feel fatigued, my right leg might feel fatigued, and my knee will swell. So you're basically always going to be confronted with two choices after surgery and trauma, because you have to rebuild all the associated vascular networks. You're going to have to rebuild the tissue tolerance. And so what you're going to have is a tissue that's sort of set up for drama that cannot handle the loads, can generate the force, can do what it does, but needs a little bit of additional active recovery. So I'm still pumping a ton every night. So after a big loading day, I'll fall asleep with the H-wave on, try to get 2 to 4 hours of pumping. Coming home in the car, I pump. And the idea here is that I'm still treating the leg just like I would if I was a new athlete. I'm going to have to sort of manage my DOMs a little bit differently, appreciate that these tissues are still a cake that's setting up. So in short, the rehab process is going to really continue on. And that's not even a good word. The training process post-surgery is going to continue on until my tissue tolerances come on board. So when you're looking at any protocol around tissue healing times, no one talks about the fact that your knee or your tissues are going to continue to set up and to continue to be more robust for probably upwards of a year. In fact, the research supports that ACL reconstruction surgery really matures at a year. And if we can wait a full year, we have amazing outcomes. The faster we come back, the faster or more likely you are to get injured after something like an ACL recovery. And the idea here, of course, is not independent of training, but independent of or dependent on the fact that it takes your tissues a minute to reintegrate into the whole and rebuild their same tolerances. My hamstrings are strong, my quads are strong, my joint capsule still gets a little bit pissy, gets a little bit dramatic. So in this process, don't panic. Keep working the plan. This isn't a defect or an error of the system. It takes a while again to build those associated vascular networks, to rebuild that tissue tolerance back into 47 years of tissue tolerance that I developed in my other knee. So keep in mind that we're chasing normalcy. Will never be normal. We're going to have to treat this the same way at a much higher volume that would cause my knees to be sore. I might have to run an ultra marathon for my knees to feel the same way. And here I might have to do a 5x5 on the front squat. But the idea here is the same. We still work the plan with the same sets of tools we would to enhance adaptation, reduce session costs globally in the whole body. We just have to be a little bit more specific.